Hello everyone, welcome back to another deadline stream. Game week 19 deadline stream. We're halfway through the season now. And I hope everyone had a good Christmas since the last time we spoke. As usual, if you can see and hear me, let me know, that would be great. I think I was having a small bit of issue with a bit of lag, but I think we should be okay. So let me know in chat if you can see and hear me. Looking a bit scruffy this morning, I have to say. I'm still only out of bed, but bear with me. I'm lively this morning after eating with the later deadline. So let me know if everything is okay. Like I said, halfway through the season, things are starting to look a bit better for FPL Chai. I mean, it's about time. If we look at my rank now, we're currently 219k in the world with massive game week in game week 18. 77 points for us last game week, and I mean, it's looking good for the second half of the season. Of course, we'll have our wildcard. We also have our triple captain left. Then we'll have the assistant manager chip, which will completely change the landscape of what we want to do. Let me just tweet that I'm live real quick. But yeah, we have plenty to discuss in this stream. And I have to say, over the last few game weeks, I've been delighted with my decisions that I've been making. Let me just quickly close this for a second. Hello Blob, hello Skywalker, Franok in chat as usual, Opal, Sharif, Nick Zero, good to see you. So let me look quickly at game week 18. It was an amazing game week, to be honest, and we had a game week rank of about 270k, which is, I mean, phenomenal, and it almost split my rank in half. So like I said, 77 points, 270k game week rank. And a lot of the picks that I chose leading up to this game week finally worked out. So one player in particular that I'm delighted with, I would say, is Kai Havertz. Again, he was on for 3 bonus until late in the game. And of course, he picked up a yellow card near the 60th minute. But to hold on to a player like him and finally get some sort of return again is a good feeling. Especially when the likes of Saka is out injured now. People will be going towards the Odegaard rather than a Havertz. Another one I want to speak about is Jarrod Bowen, of course. He's one that has finally paid off. Again, he has returned in recent weeks, but it was nice to get another return this game week. And he plays against Liverpool this week, so we'll have to discuss him a small bit. And then, of course, Anthony Gordon, who, I mean, don't get me wrong, Isaac is still scoring goals, but for, what, 1.7 million less? I'm hedging my bets, and it's kind of working out for me. So, delighted with the game week 18 score. If you have any questions, be sure to fire it in chat. But let's have a look at my Game Week 19 team. I think we're honestly well set up. Let me just quickly zoom in properly for you. Okay, there's the Game Week 19 team. Let me know what you think of it in chat. I'll run through it real quick for anyone that can't see the screen or they're busy making breakfast or in the car. But on goal, we've got David Raya, a 3 at the back with Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gabriel and Mikalenko. 5 in midfield, Jarrod Bowen, Mohamed Salah, Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon and Morgan Rogers. Why can't I speak? And 2 up top, Solanke and Kai Havertz. On the bench, João Pedro, Lewis Hall and Greaves. So the first thing to note, the captaincy armband is currently on Cole Palmer, and I'll briefly just touch on this before we get into this in a bit more depth. But this decision goes down to the extra day's rest that Cole Palmer gets. He plays on the Monday, I believe. Salah plays today at, 3 o'clock. And for me, I just feel like that extra day's rest with Salah playing 90 last game week, I wouldn't be surprised to see an early sub. Now, don't get me wrong. Salah is arguably the fittest player in the league, and I wouldn't put it past him to play another 90. But it's just the extra day's rest and a really nice fixture for Cole Palmer. I think it is a good decision, and I really don't mind it. So I want to know where your captaincy is going this game week. Let's do a little poll real quick. Mo Salah, Cole Palmer. And then we'll stick in an other just for anyone who's feeling a bit feisty. But yeah, that's where my current head is at. In terms of transfers, I've got 2 free transfers. 2 free transfers, and I'm looking to hold on to Jarrod Bowen, I'll be honest. I think there is probably no way I get rid of him. Who's tempting me is the likes of an Eze. Of course, it's hard not to go to an Eze or a Sar. But the other option for me is to downgrade or go sideways to a Lewis Hall to a Daniel Munoz. I feel like Daniel Munoz is very popular this game week, and for good reason. Really, really good numbers, and Palace look a small bit better. A clean sheet against Bournemouth as well. Long time no see, says George. Good to see you, my man. Hello, bro, says Roan. We got Mojo in here. Sohill, Skywalker, Blob. Who else we got? Mo 8th. So, Nick 0 SP with 8 months membership. He says, Yo Chai, I have QER on my team for some reason. I'm looking for a cheaper option, playing minutes. Thanks. So if you've got QER, I would say, I don't know how much QER is. Let me have a look real quick. And thank you for the 8 months. Good to see you as usual, Nick. Yeah, I would go to a Daniel Munoz. You can make that move for sure. I think it is the obvious option for me, Nick. Let me know what you think of that. 8 months with a cup of chai, my longest serving channel member as well. Okay, let's answer some of your questions. So Nazar is also in here. Rifyat says, Kirkes, Mikalenko, Castagna, pick 2. I would be starting Castagna. Now that goes to Fulham playing at 5 at the back, and usually in previous seasons we know how forward Castagna can get. And the other option I would play is Mikalenko. I think this is a really interesting fixture for Everton and Forest. I feel like this game will have very little goals. I'd be surprised to see goals in this game. And it just goes to virtue by how both teams play. And that's why I kind of feel like just rolling both my transfers and just playing Mikalenko, but I'm kind of looking for something a bit more exciting with Daniel Munoz, I think. Again, if you look at my team, a lot of away fixtures for me this game week. I think there's 7 away fixtures. Blob says, Hi Chai, start Semenyo, João Pedro or Mikalenko. I think you have to start one of the attackers, and it probably is João Pedro. By the way, so if we look at, again, my team is set up from previous game weeks, of course, that's how it works. But look at the players who I didn't end up bringing in that I could have instead of a Gordon or a Bone. Amad Diallo, Enzo. That's not to say these are bad picks, but I'm so happy that I've went with the likes of Gordon and Bone, who in my mind are way more reliable. And going forward, I think a lot of people would prefer a Gordon or a Bone in that position. It's interesting as well because my team is, I would say, well differently set up in comparison to other managers. My team is not breaking the template. I mean, there isn't really a template now that Saka's got injured. But ever since that Saka injury, people have had to move him on to, of course, a Bruno, who will be forced into a move this game week. Whereas myself, got fairly fortunate. I've stuck with Kai Havertz. He's still getting the starts. Even with Jesus playing. I've got a Gordon who's picked up some decent points and held fate in Jared Bowen. And I think I'm going to do the same going through this fixture run. Now, one decision why I didn't go with an Ahmed or an Enzo, which needs to be discussed, and it's the same reason why I think I'm going to hold on to a Bowen. It goes down to the minutes around Christmas time. I was really, really big on Bowen because if you just look at his minutes, and he's been like this throughout previous seasons, he's just a 90-minute man and he's absolutely nailed. With, of course, that unfortunate thing happening to Antonio, you've got Fulkirk playing up top and Bowen picking up a lot of space, and he's getting chances every single game. So that's where my mind is with Jared Bowen. Again, he's after returning quite well. In game week 15 against Wolves, I did indeed captain him for a 24-pointer, which was quite nice. Going up against Liverpool at home, I can't say I'm too confident in the likes of a Jared Bowen. But again, it goes down to, if West Ham are going to do anything, I do feel like it's going to go through with Jared Bowen. So, fairly confident to hold on to Bowen into this game week. I don't really have any plans to get rid of him. But saying that, one really, really nice option, I think, and he's starting to get some really good minutes, is Arabeshi Eze. He is in the thumbnail, and for good reason. I think he gets a lot of flack. It's a bit like the Bruno move earlier in the season. Bruno ended up starting to return. I do feel Eze is a really good option this game week, especially if he's getting good minutes. I think penalties is definitely not set in stone on Mateta. Mateta, another really good option. But for me, Eze is still always going to be a good option in FPL. Good to see Sam Choi, my dad, in chat. How was your game week going, Dad, last week? Let me know. Sharif says, I'm afraid of Salaman. He will destroy us. I mean, potentially. But these are the type of risks you have to take. If we look at the poll in chat, it's currently 62% on Mohamed Salah, which is actually quite lower than I would have thought it would have been. I want to say the effective ownership this game week is still going to be around 157% on Salah. And Palmer will probably be over 110, 120. But Salah will definitely be the favourite, and for good reason. The only thing, like I said, for anyone that's just joining us, is the scare of a early sub for Salah. If I project Salah to have 75 minutes, and I think Cole Palmer will have 90, I'm going to go Cole Palmer. And I feel like it goes down to that extra day's rest and a tough fixture for Ipswich during the week against Arsenal. Sorry, let me get back to some of your questions and then we'll move on to a Rob T graphic. Let's see. Any plan on offloading João Pedro, says Rafia. So I'm only after bringing in João Pedro 2 game weeks ago. Now, it was a mistake, I have to say, because the player I had in that position was Matheus Cunha. I just assumed he was going to get banned, and maybe I should have gave it more thought. It's actually quite interesting, and we'll speak about Cunha right now. Again, Cunha, absolutely amazing FPL asset when he's not going to be banned. And it is a nice fixture for Wolves versus Spurs. But I think Spurs are being overlooked again. Again, let me know in chat if you think this is a bit biased. Maybe we don't have any fit centre halves. I think Gradu Dragushin has a good chance of starting. But also, you know, Spurs at home, I wouldn't be so high on Wolves. I wouldn't be surprised to see Spurs win here. That's not to say that Wolves can't score. Again, Spurs this season, numbers-wise, have been really, really poor on a defensive point of view. But going into this game, I look at fixtures for what they are in a single block game week. I try not to look too far in the past or how things have gone. Now, maybe that's a mistake of mine as a manager, but I look at games in isolation. And this Wolves at home fixture for Spurs, I actually think is really good for Spurs. And if I had the likes of a Son or a Solanke, I'd be quite optimistic going into this game. So don't get me wrong, Matheus Cunha looks very, very good for this fixture, but the inverse is not being spoke that much about how good Spurs look against Wolves for this tie, in my opinion. And that will nicely move us on to this Rob T graphic. And if we look at the graphic, by the way, check Rob T out. The best graphic every single game week that I do look at. You'll see Spurs here at 2.35 expected goals versus Wolves, which is fairly high when you can look at the other fixtures in the table, like City versus Leicester, which is 2.75. Liverpool, which is 2.65. And of course, Chelsea and Arsenal at 2.50 and 2.35. So Spurs going underneath the radar a small bit here. And Cunha, definitely a good option, but I think Solanke is a nice one this week for sure. Do you think Jackson will play versus Ipswich? I don't see why not. Does Raul start? Raul is a minefield, man. It's hard to say if he's going to start on a weekly basis. If I were to put money on it, I would say yeah. Who to bench? Robinson, Mikalenko, Rodgers, or João Pedro? Again, if I had to choose one out of the bunch, I would probably bench Mikalenko. That is tough though. Eze Munoz, Lewis, or Watkins? Eze Munoz or Lewis and Watkins? You know what? I actually prefer Lewis and Watkins, and that goes down to maybe if we get a leak, which I doubt we will. But if we look at the clean sheet odds, it is 40% for City, the highest this game week. And you can't look past that. I think it's for good reason. Leicester are a struggling team, of course, with the new manager. But Watkins with the Jean Duran ban, I mean, Watkins does look a good option over this fixture run. A decent fixture this week and decent fixtures going forward. Who we got in here? I see a Derek O'Reilly. Big Ange watching you for Cunha info. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, Derek O'Reilly. We've also got Gary Wiseman in here. He says, Mbeumo, hold or sell? I think if you have Mbeumo, he's a hold for sure. Again, he's another one of those players, just like Jared Bowen, where if Brentford are going to do anything, you'd like to think it will come through him. And he is the focal point of Brentford. He's also on penalty, so what's not to like? Again, maybe he's at a price where there are some other decent options like a Gordon, who's around 7.3 now, and a Bowen. But I think if you have an Mbeumo, you hold on to him. Sam Chai, my dad, says, a green arrow for my team. Happy enough. Good stuff. David Williams says, good morning, Chai. Is Son a viable captain option? Having still got him in my team, currently on vice captain Mohamed Salah. Lads, I need you to tell me I'm talking shit. But, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and this is where I kind of struck gold last season as a manager, getting second in the world, and I finished the season around 1k. I do think if I had Heung-min Son this game week, I'll be captaining him. Call me an absolute madman. I don't own him, but I think I would be putting the armband on him just to pick up some variance. I do think there's a good opportunity to go a bit different this game week with the 3-day turnaround for Mohamed Salah. Again, Salah's after returned in the last 10 game weeks. So let's not forget about this. And it kind of sounds stupid when I'm saying it, but these are the type of weeks where if you take a risk and it goes in your favor, you're going to half your rank if it goes your way. Now, I know it's easier said than done and you just need a bit of variance, but you'll never, you need to take the risk to have a chance. That's the best way to put it. But yeah, call me a madman. It's a wig. Who said it's a wig? Chess Econ says, morning, Chai. Good morning. How are we? What would you do on a wildcard? Says Sign. What would I do on a wildcard? That is a good question. By the way, is the stream lagging or are we all good? Let me just put it in chat. I'm unsure. Start Rodgers or Jesus? I think I'll be starting Rodgers. Who to bench? Hall, Mikalenko or Robinson? Always just captain a little. Oh, my bad. I hope it's better now. I don't know why it's lagging. Apologies about that. It usually never lags. Let me close my window. I was wondering because I seen the view count confused. Yeah, apologies for that. Hopefully it gets a bit better. Christmas says, Sean, 2 keepers injured in 1 week, madness. Would you make a change or hold off? I would probably make a change. Try to get to 11 men. Thank you for everyone to letting me know that it is lagging a small bit. I'm sorry about that. Who's your top Spurs target if you have none? Probably Dominic Solanke. Let me just move my setup a small bit. Hopefully it fixes it. I don't know why it's lagging. Play 1, Iwobi, Rodgers or Wissa. I would play... Now, Wissa is a man on flying form, don't get me wrong, but I think I would be playing Rodgers. If KDB starts, is Haaland a captaincy option or is it risky? I do think Haaland is a captaincy option this week, and I know it's like gambler's fallacy where every single week we think City are going to do it, but Leicester, this is always a good fixture for any team in the league. I know City are in a rut, but if they were going to put on a big performance, it probably would be this game week, surely. And if they lose to Leicester, I mean, City are just getting relegated, and we'll move on from them, and we won't speak about them on a weekly basis. Nick says, I didn't get whom you suggested to buy instead of Kiwior. Could you repeat? Yeah, I would say Daniel Munoz is your man to replace Kiwior. I hope the stream is a bit better. I just moved my laptop a small bit. Yes, Choice says, Eddie, 1 free transfer. Pedro to Jackson. Also, start Lewis or Castagna. So for me, it's easy. I would be starting Lewis. Pedro to Jackson, I would just hold on to Pedro, to be honest. Starting Buemo or Semenyo. That's a really tough one. I think I would play Semenyo. It's hard to bench Buemo, who's on penalties though, but it is the toughest fixture in the league from an attacking point of view in Arsenal, so I actually don't mind benching Buemo. Tom Stevenson says, morning Choi. Who is a good replacement for Bowen? No money in the bank and currently have Salah, Palmer, Ahmed and Rodgers. Who is a good replacement for Bowen? Personally, I'm not looking to get rid of him, so I can't really give you an answer. It'd be weird for me to give you an answer when I'm holding on to him myself. Let me just zoom in a small bit. But yeah, I'm personally holding on to Bowen. I don't see any reason to get rid of him. I suppose if you're definitely looking to replace him, maybe an Anthony Gordon with United away this week. Let me know in chat, by the way. Is the lag gone a bit better? Lewis Hall or João Pedro? João Pedro. Is Gordon the best Bruno replacement? I want to say so. I'm delighted in Gordon, by the way. After bringing him in game week what? Game week 16 is after returning every single game week. It's interesting because up until that point, a lot of people were questioning the move. Rightly so, but again, I don't pick my moves based on previous performance. It goes into what I think they'll do in the next fixtures. So again, really delighted with the Gordon move for sure. The King of Kuala Lumpur is back. Welcome back, 1974. Incognito Football says, do you reckon Verbergen and João Pedro to Henderson and Mateta? I have 2 free transfers. I don't mind the Mateta move for sure. I don't love the Henderson one though, I'll be honest. Sagar says, hiya Chai, just fixing up my team before heading off to jail. Okay. I got a warrant. Okay. Is selling Kuna to Jackson viable this week? Despite how bad Tottenham are, enjoy the new year. I would say hold on to Kuna for this Tottenham fixture. Again, my hopes would definitely be tempered a small bit than what Twitter is saying. But I do think Kuna is definitely a good hold this game week, for sure. I would just prefer to hold on to Kuna and bank the transfer for next week. Yeah, enjoy the new year too, though. And best of luck. Best of luck at jail. Bench Kirkes or Digne? I'll be benching Kirkes. One player I want to speak about who's not spoken about at all, and it's a bit rogue and you won't understand it. Again, I'm not a manager who kind of goes off trends and it doesn't really make sense, but I just have a feeling. Ezri Konsa, I like him for these coming game weeks. I feel like Villa have been quite poor. Again, we've not seen too many clean sheets. I think only 2 clean sheets this season. But I do think with this fixture run and Konsa at 4.4 million, he comes in at a really nice budget, and it's not someone that many people will be going for. So keep an eye on Ezri Konsa and come back to me when I think I'm going to be right. Why don't I bring him in myself? I still feel like Daniel Munoz for 4.7 is probably better, but keep an eye. Skibbity Toilet Captaincy, absolutely. Cole Palmer, why not? Bench Gabriel or VVD? I think you got to bench VVD. I suppose it kind of more so depends on if you have double Arsenal defence, if you want to hedge your bets. But I would be benching VVD. Choi, would you do Bowen and Raul to Ahmed and Mateta for a -4? No, I don't think so. Praneeth says, hi Choi, good morning Praneeth. Hello Choi, wildcard template. I feel like the template for wildcard will be Palmer, Salah, Isaac, and double Arsenal defence / maybe Trent. Thinking of taking a -20 just to give everyone a chance. Fair play, snooker fan. I respect the hustle, the grind / hustle. Gary says, I agree on Villa. Choi, I'm starting Digne over Timber this week. Now that is quite wild, but I really like Digne for this week. Don't get me wrong. Adam Sousa, channel member, says, GG this game week, Choi. Trying my best to tune in, but my work schedule is 4 a.m. EST. Who would you bench? Havertz, Rodgers, or Jackson? I appreciate you. My man Adam Sousa, good to see you. Who would I bench this game week out of Rodgers, Jackson, and Havertz? I think I'd have to bench Rodgers, to be honest. Havertz back in some form with a really nice fixture in Brentford, and Jackson with Ipswich away. I think you have to start those two for sure. Ryan O'Neill says, my thoughts on Watkins. I really like Watkins for sure. For sure, especially with Duran out. We'll see if he can cement his place back into the team in the next 3 weeks. Does Johnson start? And if he doesn't, is it worth taking a -4 to Gordon or Sarr? Really good question, Yachty. As a fan, it's hard for me to say, but I can't imagine Maddison will be benched again. So I would say it's very likely that Johnson gets the bench again this game week. Who to start? Oina, Rodgers, João Pedro, Semenyo. That's tough. Again, you got to start the attackers. João Pedro and Semenyo, I would say. Bench Oina and Rodgers. It's hard though. Bowen to Sarr for free? No. A lot of people really don't like the idea of holding on to good assets who are nailed for 90 minutes and can return in these tough fixtures. I don't mind holding on to Jared Bowen at all. Again, my hopes for this Liverpool game aren't the highest, but I'm quite happy to just roll and not bring in someone who is probably a minute's risk going forward. Even the likes of Eze, who I don't think is going to be a nailed 90-minute man, for example. And even a Sarr, who I don't love. And someone has just mentioned Diogo Jota in chat. If he's going to start, it's probably going to be this week. It is about time we see a Jota start. But again, over this Christmas period, I think I prefer to stay away for the time being. Keith McLaughlin says, good morning, Chai. Start 2 of Robinson, Rodgers, Bowen, and Pedro. Great work as always. Thank you, Keith. If I could start 2, it would be Bowen and probably Rodgers, I want to say. I think it's likely we see a Jota start this week, yes. Mohamed says, hey Chai, thinking of you, Gabriel plus Bowen to Foden plus Munoz. Now they're 2 really nice moves, but again, they're not 2 moves I'm doing myself, so I actually really like those moves for sure. But for a -4, I don't know if it's justified unless you really believe in Phil Foden as a pick. JJ says bench Gabriel, VVD, or Robinson. You got to be benching Robinson for sure. These are two really good fixtures for two of the best teams in the league in Liverpool and Gabriel from a defensive point of view. Praneet says, I was 50% about Gordon last week. Saw your team and made the move. Hope we'll get some more points. Absolutely. I think going forward, a lot of people will be looking to bring in Anthony Gordon. Whether or not that's them doubling up on Isaac and Gordon, I'm unsure, but it is good to see that I have a player that a lot of people want to bring in. And of course, I don't have the likes of Ahmed or Enzo, which I wouldn't feel comfortable owning at this point. Top of the morning to you, Choi, says Crypto Munch. Going 3-5-2, what defender would you bench out of Gabriel, Timber, Trent and Robinson? That would be an easy decision for me. It would be Robinson. Now, it might not end up like that in hindsight, but I think on paper, you would have to choose the two best defensive teams in the league with decent fixtures. In Arsenal, who have a 30% chance of a clean sheet this game week, and in Liverpool with a 34% chance, which is quite good. Just behind City at around 40%. Anish with a cup of chai for 4 months. Good to see you, Anish, with another subscription for the month. He says, hey Chai, hope you're well. Is Dubravka a good goalkeeper option? I don't think so, Anish. It's not where I would be going personally. I think Henderson might be back in the debate as a good goalkeeper. And if you can get to an Alisson, I like it with the double game week coming up. But yeah, thank you for becoming a cup of chai for 4 months. And good to see you always active in the group chat. Jesus de Havertz, what do you think, Chai? I don't think so. I think I'll try ride my luck another week with Jesus. Personally. Start Enzo or Pedro. That's tough. I think if you have Enzo, you brought him in for a reason, and there's no better fixture to play him than in Ipswich. Praneet says, why is your membership named a cup of chai? So, chai is like a tea. So I just named it a cup of chai because, you know what I mean, you get a bit of chai membership. I don't know. I actually don't know. If anyone can come up with a better name, let me know. ACV says, hi Chai, who would you buy, Sarr or Manoz this game week? What are your plans? Thank you and good luck. So like I said, just a little recap. The armband is currently on Cole Palmer. I really like Cole Palmer for this game week. It goes for the extra day of rest he has on Salah. What are my plans this game week? I think I'm going to bring Lewis Hall out, which is going to be an interesting move, and it's not for a lot of people, especially with these returns, but I'm more than happy to take my points and run. Hold on. ZJ says, is he ignoring my question? Let me try go back to ZJ's question real quick. ZJ says, I want to sell Larson, but I don't know for who. If I sell him, I would have 10.4 million. I have Isaac João Pedro already. 10.4 million on a striker. Dominic Solanke is your man, ZJ. Apologies for not answering your question. But yeah, so Lewis Hall, 15 pointer, 7 pointer, 6 pointer. I'm more than happy to move him on. And the man I'm looking to move him on to is Daniel Munoz, who has some of the best XG this season for a defender. And Crystal Palace do look a bit better. In India, tea means chai. Exactly. So a cup of chai, a cup of tea. Chai, your best to beat my rank, says Luke. Yeah, it's good to see my rank finally back. Chai, are you on Palmer captain, says Amara. I absolutely am, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. We've got a question in Irish from the man, the myth, the legend. He says, Smoincha K Quom Fada is Dovlin Gwaquifi Kuna or Funiri? Kuna or man, my Irish is so rusty. You're asking something about Kuna. I'm gonna say hold on to him. Yeah. Play 2. Semenyo Pedro Gabriel Timber. You gotta start Gabriel and Semenyo, I think. Start one of Hoisin, Wissa, Ahmed. I would be inclined to start Ahmed. It's an interesting week for United with Newcastle, but let's see. I feel like he's a normie as well, says Luke. There's a lot of questions, Luke. I don't know what you asked. I'll try to get back to it in the comment section. He says Kuna to Isaac or Wood to Isaac and Mikalenko to Greaves for money. So I'm after biting the bullet on Isaac. I'm actually not looking to bring him in at this point. He's currently sitting around 9.1 and that's a justifiable price, in my opinion, to maybe go with someone different like a Havertz and a Solanke. Solanke, what, 1.6 million less and Havertz around 1 million less. I do think for 1 million less, you get a bit of a differential, and with Gordon, I'm trying to hedge my bets. But would you bring in Isaac for Kuna or Wood to Isaac? I would probably do Wood to Isaac if you could. If you could, Luke. FPL Jason says, hi Chai, start Mateta or Solanke? Oh, that's tough. I'd be starting both of those guys this game week for sure. I was asking how long do we think Kuna is suspended? Just thoughts. How long do I think Kuna is going to be suspended for? It's really, really hard to say. I didn't expect him to get this far without being banned in the first place. Like, I was surprised if you told me a game week ago that he would be playing against Tottenham, to be honest. How long do I think he's going to be banned for? It's really hard to say. I want to say maybe 3 to 5 game weeks, and that is just an estimated guess. I know we've seen Kudus banned as well before for something similar, so I want to say between 3 and 5. I'd be surprised to see anything longer, to be honest. Especially the way he's not been banned as of yet. It's clearly not that serious. But yeah, good question. And good to see some other Irish members in chat being able to understand the question. Chai struggling. Will you do Bone to Eze this game week, Chai? No, not for me. I don't think so. I'm more than happy to hold on to Bone this game week. By the way, if you could do me a favour, hit that like button. It would help us get us out there, and I'm looking forward to this game week for sure. A bit of a different fixture set this game week. Of course, we have a 2:30 kickoff, which is why, of course, the deadline is at 1 o'clock. And we've got some Wednesday evening football, 5:30, Arsenal versus Brentford, which is going to be really interesting. So anyone with triple Arsenal like myself will be waiting a while to see some points, but I'm sure there's a lot of other managers on the same wavelength. Good to see the captaincy poll, by the way. 63% on Mohamed Salah and 30% on Cole Palmer. I didn't expect Cole Palmer to be so popular this game week. Someone that says, good to see the chat is fairly busy. Absolutely, you love to see it, man. And I apologise I can't get to all your questions, but I'll try get to as many as possible. In the cup, I won the fewest goals. Actually, let's speak about the cup. I've completely forgot about that. How do I see the cup? Cup. Am I still? I am. I've made it to the next round of the cup. For anyone that doesn't know, you can see the cup if you go to this tab here on the right. And then you go to overall cup and you can see who you're up against. So this game week, I am against Timo. I've made it to the last 1 million in the cup. Let's see what my opponent is saying. He's currently at a rank of around 200k. Am I able to see his team though? How do I see his team? I'm an idiot. Why can't I? Timo, let me see your team, buddy. I want to see what I'm up against this game week. Maybe if I go into League Experts and I see 16th Timo. Here you are. This is his team for this game week. So he's got he's got Sanchez this game week. He actually has a very, very decent team and it's similar to myself. We could be in for some big trouble this game week. Maybe knocked out of the cup early on, but let's see. By the way, do check who your cup opponent is this game week if you're still in. The cup is always a bit of good crack. Who we got? The Man with the Legend says, Ispralesh Naguel, love the Irish. Absolutely. Pranit says, Tottenham Munoz over Pedro was big brains, but seeing Chai feels like many people are benching João Pedro. Maybe a haul is coming. I feel like it is a decent fixture for Villa, to be honest, to try keep a clean sheet. Especially when Brighton have looked a small bit underwhelming in recent weeks. But yeah, a few people will be benching Pedro this week, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's not the week to be benching the likes of a Pedro, but I don't mind benching him and playing Rodgers instead. The home fixture for Villa is what swings it for me. Yo Henry says, would you sell Bruno Fernandes to Sarr? Or would you just bench Bruno and play Rodgers and João Pedro? I think I'd be more inclined, Yo Henry, to play Rodgers and João Pedro. I know someone who's quite high on holding Bruno Fernandes is Prass, who's an amazing manager. And I do think his thought process on keeping Bruno is definitely justified. Crypto Munch says, I'm currently on the train that passes Tottenham. So many Korean fans, English Spurs fans get ratioed. You know, it's mad. When I go over to Tottenham, there are so many Korean fans every single time. And I love to see it. You know what I mean? These guys are trekking half the planet just to see Tottenham play. And the poor fuckers, man. For Tottenham to be so bad and them to show up every single game week, every single match day week, you love to see it. Rukuf says, if Kuna is banned next game week, who's the best replacement? And it's funny because I would say João Pedro is probably the best replacement for Kuna next game week. Anjan says, will Flecken play? I don't think so with the concussion. Or not the concussion. With the injury. I would be surprised if Flecken does play. So many questions in chat. Just to see Son says, Appinator, absolutely. They love Son, man. He's seen as like a god over there. Thoughts on the recent Spurs performance, says Praneeth. Don't speak to me about Spurs. I mean, we're in a bad place, and there's a lot of noise around Spurs, but that's why I do think Spurs versus Wolves at home, it is a nice fixture. The pressure is on. Gary says, have you ever went to Starbucks and ordered a chai from Starbucks? I have had a chai latte before, but it's not my cup of tea, I'll be honest. Kittle says, hi Chai, do you reckon I play Rico Lewis or Colwell this week? For me it's easy, Kittle. I'll be risking Rico Lewis, to be honest. Again, City with a 40% chance of a clean sheet. Soul says, Jesus to Isaac for a -4. Isaac has been killing my rank, and I'm also not a member, but the name A Cup of Chai is really good. Please don't change. Soul, thank you so much for your support. Jesus to Isaac for a -4. No, I would just try ride the wave on Jesus for another week. Hopefully it works out. But that's where my thought process would be. Start Konsa or Mikolenko. This game week I'll probably be starting Konsa. Would you play Miko or Pedro? Definitely the attacker. How should I start Colwell, Hall or Kirkes? Colwell, Hall or Kirkes? I want to say Colwell. I think United will score versus Newcastle. That's why I want to get rid of Hall, to be honest. More Than Choice says, Issa Sturg. He says, bench Rodgers, Larson or Havertz. Will Larson get anything from a trash Spurs defence? Again, take my opinion with a grain of salt. There's definitely a small bit of bias. But I do think Spurs are not as bad as we're making it out to be. You know, the style of football we play is control. And if we have the ball, again, of course we can be caught in transition, but it could be one of those games at home where we do control the majority of the game. So I do think I'll be benching Larson in that situation, to answer your question. Who would you field, Bowen or Raul? I'll be playing Bowen. As a neutral, the Spurs game is like a video game. Absolutely, it's mad watching us on a weekly basis. Imagine being a Spurs fan. Will you play Bowen considering selling him to Sarr or Foden? I actually really like the idea of selling him to a Foden. It's very exciting. And of course, Foden does look a bit better in recent weeks. Good to see Chewy FPL in chat. He says, how's it going, Shai? Congrats on the big rank rise. Yeah, absolutely. We are well and truly back. 219k in a position where I can actually share my opinions and feel a bit confident about them. Even though on a weekly basis, I feel like my moves have been quite good. One thing that has been suggested is upgrading Jared Bowen to the likes of a Phil Foden and potentially getting rid of a Gabriel for a Minoz who, you know what, I have the exact funds to do for 2 free transfers. I do think this is really attacking the fixtures, but again, Crystal Palace defender for an Arsenal defender who is the best defence in the league, and Phil Foden, who has looked off the ball all season, who is playing a bit better, but for Jared Bowen, who's been quite nice to me in recent weeks. I don't know if I love it. I can't say I love it. But you know what? I can definitely understand that. Because then my defence is Raya, Minoz, Hall and Trent. The only thing is I don't fancy Hall for the next 2 game weeks. And Gabriel to Minoz, like Gary has said, is definitely ballsy. I'll have to think about that a bit more. Again, really like this fixture for Phil Foden. It is an amazing fixture if you're going to pick him up. And I know a lot of people in recent weeks have been burned by him. But again, you have to look at it for what's coming up. And what's coming up for City is very nice. People are saying the fixtures for Bowen is ass. That's right. But again, West Ham are a team who can score goals. And a 90-minute man and the main man and captain for West Ham. And he's getting chances on a weekly basis. I don't mind him. What team do you support, and what changes do you think your team should improve within the transfer window? Good question, the man, the myth, the legend. I support Tottenham, unfortunately. How do I think Spurs can improve? A left-sided centre-half would be lovely. A left-back would be deadly. And with the ban coming in for Rodrigo Bentancur, I'd love a centre-mid. And if I'm being greedy, I would love a left-winger. A left-footed left-winger, preferably. Someone who is good one-on-one and technical, and can really, really make a difference one-on-one. I do think we signed that in Wilson Odobert, but with Werner, who is just not a confident footballer anymore and maybe shouldn't have been signed on loan, I do think those are the 3 or 4 areas which we can improve on. How many of those do I think we'll get? I think we'll make 2 transfers and it won't be who I want, but that's always the case with Tottenham. Yeah, I used to play football. I used to play on the wing. I actually played for the trial game for Gameweek 38 and the team was happy with my performance, but for Gameweek 39 I got replaced by a professional footballer, so I'm not too salty. I can't complain. How do you evaluate your season so far? I remember you were 9th last season at this time. Absolutely. So for anyone that doesn't know me, let me give you a season recap so far. One good thing to note, and I really, really do think if you take this in consideration, my season actually looks very, very good. I still have my triple captain to play. I would say the majority of managers have played that. And with triple captain still to play, if I play it in a double game week, I'm going to say it's minimum 6-point gain in comparison to everyone else. Again, it of course depends on what the assistant manager chip looks like. By the way, if you could hit that like button, be much appreciated, lads. I love you all. Thank you for being making me your choice of streamer this game week. Means a lot. But yeah, I do think if you take into account the fact that I have triple captain, that's the difference of maybe 10 points minimum if I do get a return. So that is potentially bringing me into the top 150k, and a good triple captaincy will bring me into the top 100k, I would say. So it's going to be interesting, and my chip strategy this year is going to be very, very important into breaking me into the top 10k if that's the goal for me, which it always is on a seasonally basis. And for anyone that doesn't know, this time last season I was 9th in the world, and this time last season I was also in the top 100 for about 20 game weeks and in the top 1000 for 30 game weeks. So again, the landscape of this season has looked a small bit different for me, but again, on a weekly basis I really, really back my transfers, and I'm really happy to be finally back into the top 500k and sitting at around 220k with all my chips left. Of course, we will have the wildcard back in our pocket in game week 20, and we will have to look at FPL team's fixture ticker to see how we want to play the rest of the season. Let me quickly bring up the fixtures. For anyone that didn't join my stream last week, we had a look at the fixture ticker, and I spoke a small bit about my chip strategy and what I wanted to do in the coming game weeks. And if we quickly run through it again one more time, I do think there is a high chance I play the triple captaincy chip when the double comes in for Liverpool in game week 24 with Everton and Bournemouth. And that would be a good opportunity for me to do things a small bit different with the assistant manager chip also. So I do think it's going to be interesting how the chip strategy for managers turns out, because I have more chips than I do have double game weeks. So one of these chips will have to be played in a single. Whether or not that is the assistant manager, the free hit, which I do think will be played in game week 29 for the Carabao Cup fixtures, and in game week 34/36, 37 we'll see doubles. So we'll need to see how the landscape of the season looks and how the table is shaping up with the assistant manager chip. Okay, on that note, let's do a little scroll on Twitter. We'll have a look at what the community is saying, see if anyone is making some early moves. Let's have a look. Sitting at 15k with triple captain still, says Crypto Munch. That is an amazing position to be in, absolutely. Yes, look, like I said, George Bannister, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, I've been in the Spurs community space for a while. And now George is a very reliable manager, or not manager, sorry. He also plays fantasy football, but a very reliable account in terms of Spurs news. And it looks like Dragushin is likely to make it now. And before kickoff, I would have said the same. But what do I know? Let me scroll in so you can see my feed a small bit better. We will try update you with any team news, and that is why we will try scroll and find anything on Twitter. We also have my moderator George on the case to have notifications on for all the guys in the community which have potential leaks. So he will keep you posted as well Hoos says Choi, what's up my man? Liam, good morning Liam, good to see you. Missed last stream but I'm back, welcome back. And this week is looking even better than last week. Hopefully we can keep up another green arrow. Good to see 170 people in here as we continue to try break into the top 10k. Fran, what is Fran saying? His potential moves. Let me refresh the timeline real quick. So yeah, it does look like Radu Dragushin is potentially fit for this game versus Wolves. Whether or not you take that as some team news, I can't imagine many managers have Radu. You kept ignoring my question. Thank you and good luck, mate. Hoos, let me try to find your question real quick. Paul, good to see you in chat, Paul, another channel member. Are you still going with Palmer captain? I'm going with Palmer captain. I'm gonna do it for sure. Chewy FPL says, I'm on wildcard this week, stuck between whether to have Foden and Guardiola versus Gordon and Trent. Have 3 free transfers. Let me get back to my team real quick. 1 second for anyone that's just joined us. I'll get back to your question in a second, Chewy. I almost just played the bench boost, by the way. That would have been horrible. Imagine, I would have cried. Where are we? Chewy says, whether to have Foden and Guardiola versus Gordon and Trent. Have 3 free transfers saved coming out of the wildcard next game week. So we'll get Trent down the line anyways. Chewy, if I was you, I would be going Foden and Guardiola. I think there's way more upside for those two guys. Bowen to Gordon or Diaz? I would be going Gordon. You're more likely to get more starts over this period with the likes of Anthony Gordon than you are with a Luis Diaz, in my opinion. Start Ahmed or João Pedro. I'd be inclined to start João Pedro, to be honest. I do think an Ahmed benching is going to come sooner or later. Again, I don't know where this comes from, but I think it's unlikely we keep seeing 90 minutes for Ahmed. Still own Kuna, keeping until the ban comes into place and have 1 free transfer. Would you do Bruno to Gordon or Pedro to Mateta or just roll? I would just roll, Tom, for sure. You making any transfers, Chai? Says Connor. I think I'm likely to bring in Daniel Munoz for Lewis Hall and bench Mikalenko. But I really like the idea of playing Mikalenko. Who for captain? For me, it is Cole Palmer. Why Palmer and not Salah captain? It's just the extra day's rest. And I can see Salah getting an early sub around 75 minutes. Again, it is skepticism and he's returned in the last 10 game weeks in a row. I have no issue with captaining Mohamed Salah. But for me, I think this is potentially a game week for me to differentiate myself. Would you transfer in Haaland, currently at 4 million? You know what, I don't mind Erling Haaland. It just means you probably don't have Salah and Palmer. Which one you don't own? I'm going to assume you're going to make the risk on not owning Cole Palmer. Solanke or Mateta for the long run? For the long run, for me it's Dominic Solanke. I still believe in Solanke as an asset. I brought in Gordon this game week. Wish I'd done it 2 weeks ago. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, but I still think Gordon is a good run, or a good asset for this fixture run. And United is a really lovely fixture. Why Bowen over Eze? Says Ice Valley. It's not Bowen over Eze. It's just I don't think it's worth a move this game week. I believe in Bowen as an asset. I agree with Palmer, but I'm worried as everyone else will captain Salah. Yeah, that's the thing though. If everyone captains Salah this game week and you believe in Palmer, leave him captain Salah. And if it works out in your favour, you're going to climb some massive rank. Don't get me wrong, if it doesn't, you're going to see a big red. But these are the type of risks that can break you in and half your rank. So I'm more than happy to roll the dice this game week. 3-day turnaround for Salah after playing 90 minutes. That needs to be taken into consideration, lads. I don't think it's been spoken about too much. Jackson to Wood? I don't think so. Thoughts on Palace assets as differentials? I love him. I don't think this week they will be too differential. A lot of people will bring in a Daniel Munoz or Arabeche Eze, who I do really like. João Pedro or Kuna? João Pedro or Kuna? I want to say Mateus Kuna. Love you, Chai. Do I play João Pedro or Ahmed? João Pedro. Start Jesus or Rodgers? Tough one. Jesus. Salah is definitely the best player in the league, without a doubt. Well, you know what? Don't get me wrong, Salah's been amazing the last 10 game weeks. I think as a player, Palmer is the best player in the league. Palmer is the best player in the league. Like, when you watch him play, he's so influential. Whereas I feel like Salah is just popping up late in games and just like consistently returning. Whereas Palmer, he makes a difference for Chelsea. Again, not to say Salah doesn't. Okay, apologies. Don't take that wrong. Salah definitely makes a difference for Liverpool. I just mean Palmer over 90 minutes is just outstanding. Hello, Choi. Bought Watkins for João Pedro, but I keep going back and forth on who to bench between Aina and Robinson. That's really tough, FPL Doctor. That is really tough. Aina or Robinson? I mean, it has to be Robinson, I feel like Everton can score against Forest. And it's a home fixture for Fulham, and he's quite attacking, and they're playing a 5-back now. So, my head would be on Robinson, but again, I'm very, very skeptical also. So, I don't know, FPL Doctor. I'm skeptical. Jordan Speller with a £2 super chat. Thank you so much for donating. It says, hi Chai, bench Wood or Semenyo or João Pedro? Wood or Semenyo or João Pedro? I believe I would be benching Chris Wood. Again, it's tough. I fancy Semenyo this week. And João Pedro on penalties. I know Wood is also on penalties, but Everton is a tough fixture. So I want to say bench Wood, but it is tough, Jordan. And thank you for supporting the channel. It'd be much appreciated. And if you want to support the channel, for anyone that's in chat, be sure to become a member. Click that join button. And I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. Again, we don't gatekeep anything in the WhatsApp group, but if you want a tight-knit community, be sure to join a cup of chai. Gibbs White starting. I don't see why not. Kuna to Solanke. Not this game week. Thinking of doing Greaves to Minoz, but then have to bench Miko or Pedro. Thoughts, I don't do it, then Flecken to Allison. I like Flecken to Allison because you get the double game week for Liverpool. The best player in the league, says George, wins you games. And that's goals and assists. Salah has the most. Absolutely. But Salah also plays for the best team in the league. Yeah, Salah keeps hitting the post off Arnold assists. We're after missing out on a few decent hauls. No questions this week. Just enjoying the live. Good luck, Choi. Cheers, Stephen. Love the kind words. I hope everyone has a happy New Year, by the way. New Year's Day in 3 days. What are you doing for New Year's? Are you a drinker on New Year's? Do you have it with your family? Or do you spend it with your missus? Let me know what you're doing. Chewy says, I've got triple Palace. Chewy FPL has got triple Palace and Kuna on my wildcard. Am I crazy or no? You are absolutely crazy, Chewy. I would be having 2 max, I would say. Choi, do you think Man U still score in the form of Newcastle without Bruno? I would say so. I'd be surprised if they don't score against Newcastle. It's at Old Trafford. If it wasn't at Old Trafford and it was at St James's Park, I would say United would definitely struggle a bit more. Bradley W says, plan was João Pedro to Isaac. Now both keepers are injured. Would you do Flecken, Fabianski to Henderson or Pickford as well as Pedro to Isaac for a -4? I don't love the Pedro to Isaac for a -4. I feel like it is a bit knee-jerky. Isaac, don't get me wrong, for 9.1 million has been an amazing asset in the last few weeks, but I think you've almost made your bed with Isaac now, and you might as well hold on to João Pedro and try get a goalkeeper. I would much prefer having 11 men with a Henderson or a Pickford. I would probably go Henderson. The -4 doesn't make sense to me. I don't think Bradley. Hi, get Kai or Jackson. Jackson is probably still better than Kai Havertz for the price. Kuna to Solanke says SZ. I wouldn't be doing it this week. Start Lewis Hall or Rico Lewis. I would be definitely 10 million %, no doubt in my mind, starting Rico Lewis. I hope I'm wrong because I don't have Rico Lewis. Chewy says he thinks he's doing it for vibes. Chewy, if I know you as a manager, your captaincy armband is also on Cole Palmer. Yusuf says, my birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Yusuf, in advance. We'll see how that goes and we'll decide for New Year's. Absolutely. Hope you enjoy it. Hello, Choi. Milenkovic or Colwell? I want to say Colwell. Southampton will get their new manager bounce versus Palace. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. We spend New Year's on the island. I don't know what island you have, but I'm currently on an island called Ireland. That's where I'll be spending my New Year's. Hi, Chai. Is Fabianski a sell? If so, I also have Bruno and Mazraoui. I would say Fabianski is probably a sell, yeah. But again, he comes in at 4 million, so I don't know if you need to be selling an asset like him. Start Kulusevski or Rodgers. I'll be starting Kulusevski at Wolves at home for sure. For show. You captain Palmer. I'm staying on Kuna then. Fair enough. I don't know if there's many managers captain Kuna. Still own, who still owns Haaland? Yeah, the poor managers that still own Haaland. You've definitely been absolutely killed in the last few weeks. True FPL says, I'm captain Salah, taking too many punts without captaincy anyways. Yeah, you've been burned in recent weeks if you've not gone Salah, to be fair. Start Dallo or Hall? Ooh, I want to say Hall. Actually, that is a toss of a coin. I don't like either. Have Salah, Haaland and Palmer. Who to captain? I could see a Haaland brace this game week for sure. Should I captain Haaland? Effective ownership is at 4%. I mean, if I had Haaland, I think I would just risk captain him for sure. Okay, that is my team. Let me fill you in on what I'm going to do this game week. So 0.3 in the bank. I'm thinking of doing Lewis Hall to Daniel Munoz. I think I'm a small bit skeptical on the attack of Crystal Palace for the time being. That's not to say their defense is amazing, but Daniel Munoz does look quite nice in my opinion. Did he get a price rise this game week? Or am I tweaking? Let me have a look. Daniel Munoz. No, he didn't. Okay. So, Daniel Munoz, if I bring him in this game week, I'll be going into next game week with 2 free transfers, of course. And I will have 2 free transfers, and my team doesn't look the worst. Of course, we'll have João Pedro versus Arsenal, but from my understanding, João Pedro does very, very well against London teams. And I know that from being a Spurs fan. Any City team leaks? Not yet, Mosen. My moderator George will keep you posted. But yeah, this is how the team looks next game week. What do I want to do with it? I'm unsure. This fixture for Gordon, of course, looks very, very nice. Not the greatest fixture for Solanke or Bowen, but again, how City have been looking, I think I want to hold on to Bowen. That's why I'm more than confident to hold on to Bowen, I think. Again, it mightn't work out in my favour. What move could I potentially do this game week? I think a move I could be looking to do is potentially make a double move and bring out Kai Havertz. The question is for who? There are not many great options, to be honest, up top. If I look at this list, who stands out? I mean, Ollie Watkins potentially. I would love a Diogo Jota back in my team, but again, I don't think there's a time and a place during this Christmas period to potentially bring in a Diogo Jota. But yeah, not many great options to replace Kai Havertz with. The obvious one is potentially a Mateta, which I don't love. So I could also see myself rolling this game week. There's no obvious moves, but the team doesn't look the greatest. If I look forward, again, another week in Game Week 21, if I do roll in Game Week 20, we will have 3 free transfers, and we will have a team that looks like this, which is very, very nice. Double Arsenal defence versus Tottenham, not the greatest. We know Tottenham can, of course, score against anyone. But yeah, let's get back to my own team. Have a look for anyone that's just joined us. Here it is. Of course, the goal for this stream is 150 likes. So if you hit that like button, it'd be much appreciated. We currently have 234 viewers in here. So I appreciate every single one of you for joining us on this Sunday evening. For anyone that wants some more content, of course, as usual, on Fantasy Football Scout, I'll be joined by with Gianni Battici at 7 p.m. after the Liverpool game. So be sure to join us there. Again, the like goal for this stream is 150 likes. Here is the team, and it is shaping up nicely in my opinion. I see no errors, even if I did want to play Mikalenko this game week. And I do think Daniel Munoz is the one I should bring in. Give us a piece of that Crystal Palace team going forward. 219k with the triple captain left. I'm so excited for the rest of the season. The game weeks are coming thick and fast, and I love when we're busy. Afternoon Chai says, John Hayes, lovely to see you. Thank you, John. I appreciate you joining us. What's up, Diddy? Would you do Ahmed to Gordon, says Daniel. Ahmed to Gordon. See, it's interesting. Some people want to get rid of Ahmed already. Or Flecken to sells Hendo or Roll. I think I'll be doing Flecken to Hendo. I would want to make sure of 11 men this week. And I would play Rodgers, to be honest. Good to see you, though. FPL Toff says, you're falling asleep on Jota this game week. Let's speak about Jota a small bit. I think you're right, as in a sense where Jota could be very, very nice this game week. My only issue with Jota is concurrent starts. Of course, I know his name is Diogo in the game. 7.2 million. And of course, he didn't start versus Leicester. But makes me think that maybe there's, small bit of issues for Jota. He's not fully fit and up and firing. And that even if he does start, excuse me. Even if he does start versus West Ham, it won't be more than 70 minutes. That's my only issue with Jota. It is a nice 6-day turnaround till the United game though. And maybe he's one that I should be considering. I actually really like that move now that you say it. Bowen to Jota. And... ooh, I love that. Bowen to Jota. It's just a very choi pick. Especially when I expect him to start. Now, I did say last week I expected him to start versus Leicester, but it didn't quite happen. And I do think he could do very, very well. Very, very well. Why did I say it like that? Versus West Ham, of course. It would also be a nice way to hedge my bets if I'm going against Salah captaincy. Hope that Diogo Jota picks up some of the returns instead of a Salah. But yeah, I think I prefer to be a bit more passive this game week. I got burned a small bit by not holding on to Kuna. I think I'm more than happy to play Bowen. But then again, bringing in Jota would definitely be attacking the fixtures. And a nice double game week in Game Week 24, which is almost around the corner when you consider how fast the fixtures are coming in. But yeah, it is a nice transfer. Bowen to Jota or Gordon? I think you have to go Gordon in that case. He doesn't get more than 60 minutes this game week to get 10 plus this week. That is true. And he's also really good off the bench. That's another good point. Jota will play over Nunez. I agree. But also Diaz and Gakpo have looked very good. So maybe not yet. I don't think it's a case where Jota is not preferred. I think the best front three for Liverpool is not Darwin Nunez. Luis Diaz on the left, Diogo Jota up top, and Mohamed Salah on the right. I think that is the preferred lineup. For me anyway. I just think Jota is not fully fit yet. Would you start Pedro Porro versus Wolves or Castagna? I'd be 10 million % starting Pedro Porro. Saying that, he got benched by Spence, but more reason for him to start in my opinion. Choi, got to go. Good to see you. See you next week, Franok. Thank you for joining me. Mohammed says, thanks for the content, Choi. Who would you bench? One, please. Hall, Mikalenko, or Ahmed? I'll be benching Hall, I would say. I would play Mikalenko and Ahmed. Okay. One scroll on Twitter. I want to see what other managers are doing. And then we will make our transfers for the game week. Let's do it. We'll also try to give you any early team news as usual. Very jealous of Haaland owners. I agree, Andy. I would agree. It's interesting to see people are on wildcard. So what to do with Evan Nilsson? Hold. Hold for sure. Let's have a look. Who's back in the building for Spurs? Pedro Porro first up. Destiny Adogi. Pat Matassar. I'm interested to see if we'll see Radu Dragushin. I'm going to assume Radu is going to play. Johnson, Son, Biss, who is potentially playing centre half. The two boys and Archie Gray, Bergville. Madison with his pillow, of course. Okay, no Radu Dragushin in that video. I think we're gotten to the point of the season where Ange is kind of fed up and he is playing mind games. He won't say the actual team now. He's not as straightforward because we have so many injuries. Okay. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything interesting on Twitter. Choi, love the outside of the box content. Any other captains you like outside of Palmer and Salah? Really, really good question. For me, I'm putting, again, for the 256 of you that are in here, Palmer is my captain this game week. And it comes down to the extra day of rest. Salah, of course, in my opinion, the second best. That's why I'm not going with him. And a good chance to potentially pick up some differential points. The third best captain, lads, if I had Young-Min Son, it's going to sound like the most biased thing ever from a Spurs fan and an Asian, but I think there is an opportunity to go a bit different and pick up some points versus Wolves at home. I think we forget how poor defensively Wolves can look. And don't get me wrong, they've had 2 nice wins with a manager bounce, but when you come to our stadium, you know how attacking Spurs can be, and it's a game with goals in it. It doesn't go... a lot of people haven't been speaking about the attacking point of view for this fixture for Spurs, and I do think if you own Solanke, it's really, really nice. So yeah, call me crazy. Hit that like button while you're at it. I appreciate you all. Palmer captaincy. And would you bring in a Iwobi? I don't know if I'd be bringing in a Iwobi, to be honest. I don't love it. Do you reckon Verbergen and João Pedro to Henderson and Mateta are 2 good free transfers? Yes, I do think so. Palmer captain, or would you bring in a Iwobi? I already answered that, Jacob. Should I start Lewis or Mikalenko? I would definitely be starting Lewis. Who to bring in, Eze or Sarr? Eze for me. It's interesting. I got flamed a small bit for saying Eze is a more reliable option than the likes of Sarr, but we just haven't seen it from Eze this season. And we know in previous seasons how good of an asset he can be. Played 90 minutes last game week, which I was surprised, to be honest. And let's see if he can do it again this game week. Now, it is a faster turnaround for Eze, so I don't expect him to get another 90. But if you're asking me between Eze and Sarr, it is definitely Eze. And I do think Eze still has some penalty share. Is that Lewis or Robinson? Lewis. Johnson or Mbuemo? Mbuemo. Are you confident about Palmer starting or Chelsea playing their strongest team due to the quick turnaround like we've seen in Europe? Says FPL tough. Tough, I don't think so. There's no Conference League for Cole Palmer. He's not in the team. And also, Palmer has a 4-day rest in comparison to Salah. Palmer plays on the Monday. Liam says start Wood or Pedro. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I would probably play Wood. Again, I don't really like either of them this game week. Play João Pedro or Ahmed. Probably Pedro. Foden, captaincy punt. Yeah, I love that. It is a bit of me as well. What do you do with Bruno? Thinking about the Gordon move. Yeah, I do love Anthony Gordon. I'm so happy I brought him in 3 game weeks ago. Pedro play instead of Bowen. No, I'm more than happy to play Bowen in this Liverpool fixture. Do you believe in doubling up? Just wondering, is there any reason behind your thinking? Doubling up on who? I don't know who you're referring to. Devils United, let me know. Finn says start Enzo or Rogers. I think if you have Enzo, Finn, this is my issue with bringing in Enzo for those that are considering it. On a weekly basis, you have yourself guessing on, should I play Enzo or Rogers? And, if you brought in Enzo, you brought him in for a reason, and it's to get him for these type of fixtures like Ipswich away. If you're never going to play him for an Ipswich away fixture, when are you ever going to play him? Bowen plus Pedro to Sarr plus Watkins for a -4. Again, I don't love it, Denish. You're getting rid of 2 guys who have good minutes for Sarr and Watkins. Don't get me wrong. Watkins is just off the back of an injury, of course, and he was after being benched to Duran, but he should still get minutes. But I think I would likely hold on to the 2 boys and not go for the -4. Bowen will nick a goal against Liverpool. Yeah, I think it's possible. I do have Trent, but again, we don't just have Trent for the clean sheet probability. It's also the attacking upside that we know he has. Devils United says, looking at your team, your only choice to double up with Liverpool and Arsenal. How about the rest? There's no one else I would plan on doubling up with, I don't think. I think Liverpool assets with the double game week coming up are definitely a nice hold, and that's the reason I'm holding on to Mikalenko also. Be nice to have 4 or 5 assets going into that double. Start Larson or Rogers, says Ali. I'll be starting Rogers. Salah triple captain? No, I don't love it in a single game week. The Sopranos or The Wire? The Wire for sure. But the FPL Wire, not the actual Wire. Dream ideal wildcard midfield? That's a really, really good question. If I could pick a midfield from scratch right now, Salah, Palmer, Foden, Gordon, Rogers. Castagna or Joe Gomez? Castagna or Joe Gomez? Again, another tough one. I want to say Joe Gomez. It is a better fixture for Liverpool for sure. Nadeep says, hi Choi, love your content. Have you learned a lot? I have learned a lot from you. It's always refreshing and differential. Hope you have a great season ahead. Yeah, thank you. And for those that have believed in me, again, we were struggling at the start of the season, and it's very, not that I'm consistently in the top half of the 100k every single season, but with a top 5k finish, a top 1000 finish, and being second in the world for the majority of the season last season, it was weird to be in the 3 million realm in the last 20 game weeks. But now, of course, we're after dividing that rank by 10, and we're currently sitting at 220k, which is a lovely spot to be in halfway through the season in Game Week 19. Going to do something a bit different this game week, and I do think my team is well set up. So let's see if we can break into the top 100k this game week. It is a big ask, but my team is well different to a lot of managers with the likes of Bowen, Gordon, Solanke and Havertz, and a differential captaincy in Palmer. So I'm quite excited for the game week. Choi T says, Muhan, good to see you. Should I keep Odegaard? Yes. Start Colwell or Hall? Colwell. Start Jimenez or bring in Isaac for a -4. Start Jimenez. Play Guardiola with Leicester away over Robinson. Definitely. Bowen to Foden with a -4. No, because I'm not doing that myself. It'd be weird if I told you yeah. But I do like Foden, don't get me wrong. I think if I to bring in Foden, it would be to captain him. Would you do Saliba to Trent this week? No. Have Timber as well. We'll eventually bring in Trent, but I don't know whether or not he'll do better than Saliba this week. Dan, if you have no other issues, I think it is a bit of a luxury move. If you have no issues and there's no holes in your team, I would do the move. But I'm going to assume you don't have the luxury to do that. So I would just roll. Waleed, channel member, one of the newest channel members, says, "Hey Chai, got a benching headache this week. Who do I start from Colwell, Lewis, Mikalenko for a 3-4-3, or should I play two of them and drop João Pedro for a 4-4-2? I'm always of the mindset of playing as many attackers as you can, so 3-4-3. We've got 290 concurrent viewers in here. Welcome to the stream for anyone that's just joined us. Be sure to hit that like button. The goal of this stream is 200 likes, and thank you for joining me. Cadden Moore says, João Pedro or Ahmed? It gotta be João Pedro. He's on penalties. Bench Aina or Robinson? I'll be benching Aina. Which liver apart from Salah should I risk? I want to say Trent Alexander-Arnold. Rhea Gabriel Estupinian Robinson. I don't know what your question is. Thoughts on Jacob Murphy? It's actually quite interesting. Someone came in here 2 game weeks ago and told me I need to bring in Jacob Murphy instead of Anthony Gordon. Of course, very happy with Anthony Gordon, but shout out to that guy because he did bring in Jacob Murphy. Liam G says, what's good, Choi? You're not worried about Sarr this game week? Why would I be worried about Sarr? Definitely not worried about Sarr. I think he is definitely a good option, but I'm more than happy to potentially go Palace-less against the Southampton team. Hi, Choi. Matoma to Gordon or Wissa to Mateta? Ralph, Wissa's been an amazing option this week, in past game weeks, especially at home. Again, Arsenal a really, really difficult fixture. I would say hold on to Matoma and potentially Wissa and maybe roll. I just don't know what other striker you would bring in. Best Saka replacement. This is actually quite an interesting topic. I wouldn't be holding on to Saka for sure. Again, I expect him to be out for a while. And even when he comes back, I don't expect him to be as good as he's been. It's one of the worst injuries you can get in football. It'd be really interesting to see if he comes back even any good come the end of the season. I mean, it is a horrible injury that he's after picking up. So Saka's going to be an interesting one. I can't imagine myself owning him for the rest of the season. And again, this is a hot take. He could come back firing, but I don't see it happening. TC in chat, he says, sup Choi, I'm 171k in the world, 32 hits, winning all my leagues except one behind by 51. Change Watkins and Sarr, but can't decide who to captain, Palmer and Salah. Look, I'm not going to try sell anyone captaincy this game week. It'd be wrong for me to do that when I'm going against a man who's converted in the last 10 game weeks in a row in Salah. I just think the extra day turnaround for Palmer and Salah, 4 days for Palmer, 3 days for Salah, and Salah played 90 last game week. It's the only reason I prefer Palmer, and Ipswich had a tough game with Arsenal during the week. So again, that's my reason for Palmer, and I'm not going to try sway anyone to do the same. I'm more than happy to bite the bullet if I get a red because of it. I agree with you on Foden in a dream midfield. If every City was to turn it around and go on a scoring frenzy, it would start now with Leicester away. I've got Foden in the team and still believe in him. I think if I had Foden, I'd almost be willing to throw the captaincy on him. You know what is really interesting is bringing Foden in for Bowen and taking out Gabriel for Munoz. I think that is really interesting. But again, it's hard to get rid of 2 90-minute men. Salsil says, any City news? Not as of yet. I've got my boy George on the case, scrolling through Twitter, trying to get us any news possible. And he will keep us updated as usual. Shout out George. Would you bring in Gordon this week as a Saka replacement? Even if I'm planning on bringing in Isaac next week. I think you can double up on the Newcastle attack. Gordon and Isaac, they kind of work very, very well as a partnership. We often see a lot of returns. Gordon goal, Isaac assist, and vice versa. So I think there is a case for going for both, and the fixtures do look quite good. Would you transfer Pedro for Solanke? Yes, I would. But I wouldn't be eager to do it. I think Pedro is still a decent option for 5.8. I don't think you need a Joe Pedro replacement. I'll just put that out there. Will Phil Foden start? I would say so. Even if De Bruyne is back, you'd like to think Foden will be on the left. Okay, let's do another scroll on Twitter. We have 80, or how long do we have left? 20 minutes until the deadline. Let me switch that timer. I didn't know it was wrong. 21 minutes. 21. Okay, that's a bit better. It is 21 minutes until the deadline. 1 o'clock deadline. Yes, indeed. Okay. Cheeky little scroll on Twitter, and we'll get back to answering as many of your questions as possible. Foden leak in 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get anything here. My boy Liam, what is his predicted lineup? Luis Diaz, Jones, Salah, Diogo Jota. Interesting. McAllister back in the 6/8. Pickford or Henderson if you don't have Minoz. Henderson. Okay, do you know what we'll do? HI, happy belated Christmas and a happy new year. Happy new year, Mark, and happy belated Christmas. Why can't I speak? Let's do some fixture predictions. City versus Leicester. What we got, chat? I'm going to say a 4-0 City. Put it in chat what you think the score is going to be. 4-0 City. Ho Zong Zeng says, are you planning on making any transfer? Yeah, I think I'm going to bring in the likes of Daniel Munoz. What do you think the score is going to be in the City game? I'm going to go 4-0 City. And that's why I really love the idea of bringing in Phil Foden this week. I love it. By the way, 220k. I'm loving my rank back because it's not 7 digits anymore. 3-1 City says Sharif. Daniel says 3-1. Connor says 2-1. Everyone thinking City's going to concede. Mark says 3-0. Batty says 3-1. Zina says 2-1. Cecile says 2-1. Mikkel says start Evan Nilsson or Bowen. It's got to be Bowen for me. Liam says 3-1. HI, listen from North Carolina. Good morning. Yeah, it's mad the amount of reach FPL has. Hello from Ireland. North Carolina. I'd love to go there. Ahmed or Bowen, Chai? I want to say Bowen. 4-1 City. We'll find a way to concede a stupid goal. 6-2. 3-2. Yeah, a lot of people expecting City to concede. I don't think City will concede though. That's me personally. Okay, next scoreline. Crystal Palace versus Southampton. I'm going to say 2-0 Crystal Palace. Nick says 3-0. Any City team leaks? Says Motion. No, not yet, man. Not yet. Sarah Eze. For me, it's Eze. Mark Parker says, I'm 243k after some lucky weeks. I'm currently around 220k. Good to see you back in some decent rank. Plenty of time, by the way. Still 19 game weeks to go. Do you like Hoisin? For sure. He comes in at a really nice price. 2-1 Crystal Palace says Daniel. Connor says 1-0. Yusuf says 1-0. A lot of people backing the trend of bringing in a Crystal Palace defender. I wonder, are these a lot of guys that are bringing in a Daniel Munoz who are saying 2-0? Starting with Toma or Ahmed? I'll be starting with Toma. Hello, Choi. Start Hall or Castagna. I want to say Castagna with the 5 at the back. Muhin says 0-0. Thoughts on Mateta? Love Mateta. I think he's more likely on penalties than Eze, so I don't mind him as an option. Okay, let's move on from Crystal Palace. It's not that I don't care about the Everton and Forest fixture. I want to get the fixtures of the assets that people own. So let's do Spurs versus Wolves. A lot of people I suspect will have a Solanke or a Kuna. So what do you think the score will be in Spurs Wolves? I'm going to say 3-0 Spurs, and you're going to call me crazy. Durat says, hi Chai, which keeper from Sells, Pickford or Henderson? I want to say Henderson. Again, a lot of people stuck in the trap of Henderson from the start of the season, but I do think the fixtures do change for Palace and he's quite nice. Deutsche Ball for Everton anyway, 0-0. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to get around to asking. I feel like it's going to be a boring game. It will be or Sar. I want to say Sar. Connor says 3-1 Spurs. Mark says 1-all. Sharif says 2-all. Ice G with the 3-all. People think this is going to be an absolute goal fest. I own Son, 21k rank. Jose, I'd almost be tempted to put the armband on him. 5-0 says Aditha. Aditha, I hope you're a Spurs fan. Because you wouldn't be blinded like I am unless you were a Spurs fan. Okay, this is interesting. Rayan says, hi Chai, Spurs fan here. I know you're one too. Do you think we'll score against Wolves today? 10 million %. I would put all my money on Spurs scoring today. Trying to decide between Aiton or Ahmed. I would 10 million% be starting Ahmed with the attacking threat. But yeah, Kuna hat-trick. I want to sell Mbuemo, but this match next week is tasty. What are your thoughts? I'll be holding on to Mbuemo if I had him. Pedro or Robinson? Pedro for sure. Wood or Watkins? Be starting Watkins, without a doubt. Is Rico Lewis starting, says Deezer. I'll be surprised to not see him start, but let's see if we get some team news, and I'll be sure to keep you posted. I'm a blinded Spurs fan also. Yeah, at least we're honest. You know, we know when we're deluded. At least we're honest. Okay, let's go and make our moves. By the way, I don't know how many likes we're currently on, but the goal, of course, is 200 likes. If we can hit that, I would love you all, and thank you for joining me for another amazing stream. So the move I want to make this game week is Lewis Hall to Daniel Munoz. The first thing to know is, why not move on the likes of a Mikalenko to a Munoz? The first thing is I can't afford it. The next thing is, I don't believe in Lewis Hall, even after him performing really well with some decent numbers. I just feel like 2 away fixtures and then a tough fixture in 3 weeks. I prefer to have a Daniel Munoz personally. A £3 super chat from TC. Appreciate you. Coffee on me. Daughter HC says follow her. Watkins captaincy. Daughter HC says follow her. I don't know what daughter HC means. But Watkins captaincy, that's definitely interesting. I feel like there's goals in this Villa game for sure with Brighton. TC, by the way, I know you're always in our chat. Be sure to become a channel member. I'd love to have you in our 2 seconds. My phone is being rang. 2 seconds, guys. And I will get back to you. I just need to text someone. 2 seconds, guys. What was I saying? So yeah, I do feel like Watkins is actually not a bad captaincy shout, especially with the shorty of no Jean Duran. And I would love a Watkins personally right now. I would love a Watkins. Kuna with Hee-chan back. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, guys. What was I saying? So yeah, I do feel like the Villa boys, that's why I really want to start Rodgers this game week. I love him this game week for sure. He's a bit better than people are making him out to be, and I know a lot of people have gotten rid of him. So on my transfers page, let's go make this move of Danny Munoz in for Lewis Hall. And it's against what a lot of people are thinking. I really think United are going to score versus Newcastle. And I don't fancy Mikalenko too much with Forest at home. I do think it'll be a low scoring game, but I can see Everton conceding in this game. I'm more than happy to hold on to Mikalenko going into game week 24 with the double. So I'm going to make this move of Munoz in for what's his name? Lewis Hall. TC says, I'll join the group chat. Do you have a link? So you have to become a channel member to join TC. And I understand if you don't want to do that. But I was just suggesting that if you're going to support the channel, it's definitely a better way than just sending me £3. But yeah, I really appreciate it, and it means a lot for all you guys that are sitting in here on your Sunday morning choosing me as your choice of streamer. I really appreciate it. Oishi says the FPL cartel chat active this morning. Absolutely, Oishi, as usual. Lewis for sure. MO or Mo says, would you transfer out Flecken with a -4 even though you have Brentford second goalkeeper? No, I wouldn't. If I had Brentford's second goalkeeper, I'd be more than happy to play him and Flecken because you cover both sides of the coin. Start Hall or Lewis? I'll be starting Lewis without a doubt. Munoz is in the team. I'm happy to have Munoz. I'm really happy to have Munoz, to be honest. Again, no Eze, which is a type of punt that I'll be making, but I still feel like it is a bit early for me. Nick, I don't know how you haven't already, but send me on your number. There is 15 of us in this members group chat. You're the longest serving member. You gotta be in it. Joby says Semenyo or Ahmed. For me, it's Semenyo. Foot Chrono Julian says, Choi, should I start Pedro or Kulu? Love your content. Appreciate you, my man. I would say Kulu. This is a really good fixture for Spurs, in my opinion. Start Bowen or Evan Nilsson. I'm of the mindset of starting Bowen. I feel like he can nick something. Pushed says, respect, Choi. I don't know what you're respecting me for, but thank you. Asmus says, could you spin the wheel for me? Captain Haaland, Salah or Palmer? You know what? This hasn't seen the wheel in a long time, so let's do it. Spin the wheel. This is the quality content you get for joining me. So let's see what we got from my boy. Who we got? Who's the wheel for? What's his name? I missed it. But anyway, he said Haaland, Salah, Palmer. Let me get involved in this wheel. Oh, why is my camera lagging? Okay, we're back. Apologies about that. Who we got? So, Haaland, Palmer, Salah. Alright. This is for, I don't know who, but let's do it for him. Shit. Okay. Why is my camera lagging? Would you stop? Okay, we're back. Salah captaincy for whoever suggested that. Okay, let me close that because we're lagging a small bit. Hopefully it's a bit better now. And also, let me check on how many likes we're on. 260 people in here. It's good to see people are back joining our streams. I love to see it. Hopefully we're after breaking the 200 threshold. What are we on? 130. Let's get over 150. I'll be delighted with over 150. And let's see if we can push towards 200. Play Sar or Semenyo. Sar or Semenyo. I think you gotta be Sar this game week for sure. Hi Choi. Bench one of Kuna, Rogers, Iwobi, Jackson or Martinelli. That is really tough. I will be benching Iwobi. Henderson or Raya. Raya for sure. Arsenal by far the best in the league. Even the wheelless template says ISG. Fuck off ISG. Theodore says Choi. Captain Haaland do not have Salah. Yes is the answer. I'm not going to say too much on Erling Haaland though before I get carried away. Why Palmer captain? It's the 1 day one day extra turnaround for Palmer. He plays on the Monday in comparison to Salah, who's had a 3-day turnaround. And he played 90 minutes last game week. It's just, I'm a bit skeptical of an early sub. That's the only reason. Start Mikalenko, Raul, or Rico Lewis. I would start Raul. Best goalkeeper to bring in this game week. I mean, I want to say Henderson, but it's not great. So other than that, I'll be going Alisson. Choi, start Rodgers or Larson. I'll be starting Rodgers. Choi, should I transfer in Arnold in for Hall or Lewis? Appreciate it. I would do it for Hall. I still feel like Lewis with these fixtures can be decent. Again, maybe you're fed up with Lewis like I was, but I feel like Lewis is still a decent hold. Best Castagna or bench Castagna or Rico Lewis. I will be benching Castagna. Bench one of Trent Alexander-Arnold or Munoz. Getting a feeling Trent will blank. I will be benching neither of those guys, Sohil. For sure neither of those guys. Let's do a little scroll on Twitter before the deadline ends. 8 minutes until the deadline. Let's see what we're working with. Big Benny Blanco. So FPL Fran is locked in. He's gone Lewis to Munoz. Good to see that some suspicious managers are doing some suspicious moves. I wonder is there going to be Lewis this game week? I would just say, again, I can't say that he's got some early news about Lewis. But when Fran makes a move like this, if I had Lewis, I'd definitely be taking it into account. And it's good to see another very respectable manager has gone with Palmer captaincy. I'm intrigued to see what his thought process was on that. FPL Pickle is also locked in. She's also done Lewis to Munoz and João Pedro to Mateta, which is interesting to say the least. Maybe there is some Lewis gate this game week. It's going to be interesting if we see some uproar in a subset of managers all getting rid of Rico Lewis. Another very, very reliable manager in the community in Prass doing Lewis and Enzo to Munoz and Sar. Now this is interesting because he's gone and got rid of Enzo, and I'm delighted again I've not fallen into the trap of Enzo. I didn't really like the idea of Enzo. Again, you go into a fixture like Ipswich away and you're unsure if you even want to play him, so I'm delighted I didn't bring him in. Sar is interesting though. I'm surprised he didn't go with the likes of an Eze instead. But doubling up on the Palace attack, or the Palace assets in general, love it. Daniel says, Chai, I guess you're not in those group chats. You know what, Daniel? I'm not. But I do take into account when I do see the guys like Prass and Fran, because they have some good connections with some guys that are more educated on City than I am. In comparison, I would know a bit more about Spurs, and I do have my entries into some Spurs information. So, again, it is, everyone has their different type of sources of information, and we'll all have different people we listen to, and some people will call it Walkergate or Lewisgate. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just managers taking educated guesses as well. Wildcard dilemma: Rhea and Valdemarsson or Alisson and Fabianski with 0 Arsenal cover. I prefer Alisson and Fabianski with the double coming up in 24. Ahmed says Lewis to Arnold or João Pedro to Gabriel Jesus this week. I would say I wouldn't be bringing in Gabriel Jesus this week personally. But yeah, I'd love Lewis to Arnold if you can do it. You're lucky you don't have Lewis. Yeah, absolutely. I got rid of him 2 game weeks ago. And another player I'm lucky not to own is Renan Aït-Nouri. I also got rid of him like 4 weeks ago. No Lewis news, says Pickle, just that he stinks. Yeah, I know, Pickle. I had a feeling. I know there's no Lewis gate. It's just funny that people really think that there's people with some information. But you know what's interesting, Pickle? It's interesting to see the likes of yourself, Fran, and Prass. You know, these are managers that I would back due to how active you are. And it's interesting to see active managers getting rid of Lewis with a nice fixture this week versus Leicester. That's all I would say. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's Lewisgate or Walkergate. Start Colwell or Hall. I'll be starting Colwell. I don't really believe in Hall this week. Again, I don't know where it comes from. Comes from feeling. Maybe no Kichai is cartel leader. Yeah, maybe I've just been chatting shit to you all. I'm actually the leader of the cartel, and that's why I don't own Lewis in the first place. You never know, guys. In Chai we trust, no. Guardiola out for Manoz. No, I'll be sticking with Guardiola personally. Nathan Ake back in the team, in my opinion, as well. Let's do one cheeky scroll again before we move on to my team for one last look. Let's see what Fran is saying, because he is backing up what he's saying. Yes, I'm going Cole Palmer captain. A close decision as ever, but want that risk. As far as Manoz, I was planning transfers and realised I would want him in the future anyways. Whereas Rico's Lewis X-Mins become uncertain. Completely agree with this, and it's exactly what I'm doing. My future moves resolve around Mbeumo, Rodgers, and Kuna. With Kuna close to a rise, that gives me the price security I need to not make a striker move probably until 21 if he gets banned in 20. Meanwhile, Daniel is likely to rise, maybe even a few times going forward. Maybe more sense to grab the immediate expected value for me this game week, whereas Munoz still has the better game. And you know what? I couldn't have said it better myself, Fran. It is exactly why I am bringing in Daniel Munoz myself. And I don't know why my camera is lagging. Apologies for that. Refical says, Lewis is terrible in every defensive position he plays. You know what? I would say so as well, but he's still young. So I think he still has some really good potential in the future to become an amazing asset. FPL Pickle says, yeah, it did feel wrong, but he has been too disappointing and a good entry point for the Crystal Palace assets. And I completely agree with that, Pickle. I can understand the move for sure. Hi, Shai. We've 3 minutes until the deadline, by the way. Get locked in and do me a favour and do hit that like button while you're at it. I don't know why my camera is lagging. It's really annoying me. Are you still in the cup, Shai? Jose says, I am in the cup, and my opponent this week has a very, very good team, so I could be making my way out of the cup. I'm into the last 1 million, and let's take a look at his team real quick. So his team, this is what his team consists of. Of course, he has to start Sanchez this week, but he has the double Newcastle attack, which I love. He has Kulusevski this week, which is definitely going underneath the radar. And he also has Nicholas Jackson. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. But yeah, very, very tough cup opponent this week. 300 concurrent viewers in here before the deadline. Do me a favour and smash that like button. We're trying to get over 200 this stream. And I appreciate you all for joining me. Hallie says, you're the best deadline streamer. I try my absolute best, and I appreciate the kind words. Gally says, wildcard dilemma, Enzo now, and have to use another transfer for Gordon or go directly with Gordon. I would for sure go with Gordon. I would just play him versus United, which is a decent fixture. Why Palmer over Salah? Again, another question from Animal, and it's just because the extra day's rest. And Noel says, Legend Chai, love the differential picks. Thank you, Noel. It's going to be interesting going into next game week. Let me bring up FPL team real quick. We've got 2 free transfers going into game week 20. And of course, decently set up, I would say. So yeah, 1 minute until the deadline. Let me quickly take a screenshot of my team to post it on Twitter before I forget. And also, Also, again, just to remind you, I am doing a recap, not a recap, but we'll have a look at how the games have gone today with Gianni Battici on Fantasy Football Scout. So for the 250 of you that are in here, if you want some more of my content, be sure to check it out at 7 p.m. on Fantasy Football Scout. Yes, Choi, and Buemo or Evan Nilsson. I'll be playing Evan Nilsson, I think. Rafa K with the $3 super chat. He says, Foden starting, any news? We've not got any City news, and it's been the case all season. So no, Rafa, thank you for the super chat. And be sure to become a channel member if you want more content from myself and to be involved in a tight-knit community. I know I keep promoting it, but I know people love super chatting, but if you want a bit more or a lot more of one-to-one content, Rafa, be sure to become a member and I'll get you added into the group chat. Mark Parker says, great stream, Choi. Thank you so much. And thank you to the 267 of you that are still here. And it's been an amazing stream for sure. And best of luck this game week. So, that wraps up our team. Just to recap, for anyone that is listening, we've got David Araya, Trent, Gabriel Munoz, Bowen versus Liverpool, Salah, Palmer, Captain, Gordon, Rogers, Solanke, Havertz, and João Pedro on the bench. Another great stream. Be sure to hit that like button before you go. And I will see you in the next.